all these kindly, competent, highly skilled people within our area, it's worth knowing one another, right? It's worth actually get to know one another because we can be kind of useful to one another. And we will be, because look at us all here supporting and encouraging and celebrating success and celebrating influence.
Let's just raise a toast and let's acknowledge the women of influence in 2024. Well done, congratulations, and I look forward to reading all about your achievements this year and next year and the years onwards.
Introduce you, if I may, first to Dr. Bonnie Kwok, who sits to my left. And you will find Bonnie at the Greater Cambridge Shared Planning Service. She has over 25 years post-qualification experience. So she's here bringing her considerable experience to bear on the panel for, hopefully, for your benefit. She leads on the Greater Cambridge Youth Engagement Service, and that means seeking to ensure that children and young people are more involved and engaged in the planning process, which I think that's really interesting.
I've got the opportunity to work in town planning, and working as principal planning officer had meant that I could make really important decisions with the local community, working on very large projects.
Our next panellist is Elle Cass, and we've gone from the public sector to the private sector. Elle is the head of Built Environment Strategic Growth at SLR Consulting, and SLR Consulting is a global sustainability company.
I went for an interview for an enforcement officer job with the council, or with a council, I will say. And during the interview, the person interviewing me asked me how I thought I'd be able to do that job, given that I was a woman. I think things are improving and changing, and I think that the way that we recruit is much better, but I think we've still got quite a long way to go.
We really want to encourage women from different backgrounds to apply for planning roles.
Yeah.
So we need to do more to encourage planners, to encourage people to come and work for the local government.
It's about that the equality of opportunity in terms of the way in which we're advertising our roles, and then the way in which we're conducting the process of essentially attracting people into the profession.
So in terms of retention, I think, like I said earlier, if you compare the pay between public and private sector, there's restriction on how much we can pay to planners in the local authority. So in order to compete, I think we have to come up with other types of benefits to encourage staff retention. So in Greater Cambridge Shared Planning, we have a very clear appraisal and one-to-ones, and then a lot of courses that you can do to help you with your career progression. On top of that, there's the coaching and mentoring scheme. We would encourage children and young people to apply for the opportunity to work in the planning department. So I lead this program to ensure, I particularly encourage girls and those from disadvantaged background to come along. And I'm very proud to say that over the years we've supported over 60 young children and young people to inspire them to consider planning as a career.
So in my organisation, one of the key things that we've been doing since I've been there for the last 7 years is looking at this is globally a career development framework and how that retains people, and having a meaningful career development framework with objectives that are reviewed and actually deliver outcomes. But what we looked at as a planning team was how we ensured that we had roles within our team to enable everybody to fulfil their potential. And we ended up actually restructuring the entire team over the last 3 years. We merged 2 teams together to have a much larger team, which is planning and ESIA. So it covers a broader area of planning, which enabled people to have more opportunities to go across different subsectors in the profession. And we opened up more roles. A number of really promising women in our team have come up through the ranks and gone through to technical director, and it's brought much more balance to our team, which I think is really positive.
Do you think we're doing okay in terms of access to the profession? Put your hand up if you think things are pretty much okay, they've sort of improved. Think. A few people prepared to put their hands up, some people are a bit unconvinced. What about retention of women? Do you think that's an area where we really need to concentrate on work, or do you think we're sort of largely okay in terms of retention? Put your hand up if you think that's an area we should really be focusing on. Yeah. What about career progression, sort of equal pay? Whoop, straight up, hands up. Yeah, okay. It's such a good point. I mean, I think there's two sort of questions implicit in that. One is about how do we avoid polarisation, and the other is about how do we make things better for everybody and avoid the gender stereotypes. And I think the first thing that I would acknowledge is that thinking in this area evolves. Even over the time that I've sort of been involved and sort of interested in equality matters, the way in which we express ourselves rather dates us. The things which we take as normal and acceptable change. We stick our feet into it without meaning to. We sometimes are not as sensitive as we could be. I agree with you. I think we shouldn't be polarising. I agree with you. I think we need to make things better for everybody. But I think a sort of plea. I think we need to be as relaxed as we possibly can be about how we put these things and simply appreciate and be grateful for the positive energy that people are putting into things to try to make things better, even if it's sometimes a bit ham-fisted, sometimes a little bit insensitive.
I think obviously the EDI agenda just generally has improved things for everybody, because we talk about things and you're able to talk about things and not feel like you're saying something that's wrong. I think it's I do worry that there's a siloing of different groups sometimes, because I sit on lots of different committees and groups, and I think it's really important that if we're working in for good in that area, that we try really hard not to be thinking just about our own image and our own issues. I mean, I'm dyslexic and neurodiverse, but it's the whole plethora of things that are out there that we need to be thinking about. And I think in terms of the thing about those events, it's a very, very good point. We need to be, I just think we do need to be challenging people about the events that we hold. And I think we should be holding our businesses to account if they're the ways that they're doing business development. But I think the key thing in terms of building your network is get to as many events as you can and go to a real cross-section of things so that you break the mould.
Mine would be bolder. 2 words, 1 word.
It won't be 1 word, sorry, I'm a planner. Don't be afraid to self-promote yourself, because other people might not do it and you need to.
I would say be confident. Be confident in yourself, and don't be afraid to say, I did this, I achieved this, but also be thankful and cherish all the time you've got to spend with your team.
I think you should enjoy it, younger self. I think you should squeeze the pips of joy out of all of it. I think this is a great moment and we should just really just enjoy it.
Thank you.